Hello everyone, I am back and I am going to be doing another tutorial today, and I just played this game, as in like I just finished this game 2 minutes ago, but I will be showing this. I was just playing some normal matchmaking, which I do almost every day, maybe 2 or 3 games, and that's about it. Today I've played, this is my fourth game. I already lost, I lost 2 and I won 1, so I won, this is my second game I won, and now I feel like that's good enough for me going 1 for 1. My record is actually a 2 for 1. It's like 48 for 24 or something like that, so it's alright. Anyways, this game is a fantastic, I feel, it's a fantastic demonstration of a 4-gate counter by the Terran. Of course, I did not plan this. This was matched by the placement match, so I had no idea he was going for 4-gate. I just found out when I scanned, and fortunately my build was the right counter for it. Of course, there are many different counters for the 4-gate. If you find out in soon enough time, then you are able to counter it. What I did was I went for a 3-gate Marauder. I was planning to go for a 3-gate Marauder push, and then if I can do enough damage, I will, or if he throws down a robotics, I would throw down a Ghost Academy and continue the push, which is what I try to do here. But the 4-gate push was it did send me back a bit. It did destroy most of my army, but his army as well. It's a huge investment by the Protoss, just keep that in mind. He is not chrono boosting, so I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe he's not too good, but regardless, this level is good enough to show you guys how to defeat a 4-gate counter push. It's not like he has to be the most fantastic player. It just shows you the principle. Oh, he is chrono boosting now. Okay, so as Terran, what you have to do is you just have to stay aware enough. For example, if he goes to 4-gate and you go for an expansion, you are going to have some difficulty unless you know how to throw down a lot of bunkers. But on this map, you cannot do it because there's 2 entrances to your base. You could do it on Lost Temple, which is safe because there's 1 choke into your natural. Here, he scouts me, and I just continue building up with what I'm doing. I planned on going for the 3 barracks Marauders already before I start, or when I started this game. I already had it in mind, so I throw down the tech lab as soon as I can, and I don't build the first Marine, which is what I usually do after I finish the barracks, because there's no need for Marines. So what he does is he puts a probe here, and I found this out later that he builds a pylon right here. Very, very clever. I should have suspected it, which I kind of did, but I didn't do anything about it because I felt the 3 Marauder push was pretty darn safe against any Protoss build except for 1-gate robotics or Stargate. Stargate, if he was going to go for it, I was planning on scanning him with soon enough, so thought I would have been able to find out in time. Anyways, so I throw down my 2nd barracks, and you don't need to get your 2nd gas when you go for the 3-gate, and you just or 3 barracks, because you just throw down your 3 barracks, and there's no need for the refinery, because the refinery is excessive. To pump out Marauders, they cost 25 gas. 25 gas, so there's no need. 3 SCVs mining 1 refinery is more than enough. So he's throwing down his gateways, chrono boosting warp gate, because that's what this pylon is for. Of course, he wants to warp in the units, and he's throwing down his 4th gate. And he's got no units, keep that in mind. If I just walked in right now with these, I could wreak havoc, but then he could build a unit. But this is the investment he has to make, because he has to be able to support his economy enough to support the 4 gates. So right now, if he builds units, he cannot build more probes, build more pylons, so he is going to have trouble. So while I'm in my base, I accidentally build reactors for both of those, so I lose a bit of minerals right there, but that's alright. It's not too much. It costs 50-50, and I do lose, I think you lose 1/3 of the resources you spent when you cancel a building, so it's not that much. Anyways, I've got 2 Marauders right now, pumping out the 3rd. I'm researching concussion shells, and that's all you need for a Marauder push. You don't need anything else, because anything else, it's going to be a big investment. 100 minerals and 100 gas. I mean, I barely have 100 gas, so it's going to cost a lot if you want to research stim. And stim, the Protoss player could just run away. It's kind of annoying. And now he's starting to warp gate in units for Zealots. If I scouted this early, I could have just so easily microed his Zealots. I mean, I could have so easily just defeated this. Anyways, if you look at my vision right here, Shifty, I don't see this, but I do see the 4 warp gates because I did scan him. So I know what he's doing. If you look at his vision, he has no idea I'm going for Marauders. He thinks so far I'm going for blocking the choke, which is sort of what I'm doing, but not really. Which would have been, I mean, if I was going for anything else, this would have worked perfectly. But I see this coming in, and I have what, 6 Marauders. Marauders are so good against Zealots with the hit and run because of the concussion shells. They're just so effective, and he is just having trouble because Marauders are so effective against Warp Gate units. So anyways, I start sniping the Stalkers because the Stalkers are doing the bulk of the damage against me. If I take out the Stalkers, I can micro against the Zealots. So what I do is I just hit and run with the Stalkers, and I lose most of my Marauders. I lose about half of them, but I'm constantly pumping them out, so I'm not really in any trouble right here. 5 Marauders, they just do so much damage against Stalkers, and they're so effective against Zealots because of the concussion shells. I mean, Marauders are just so effective. The only counter to this build that he could have done that would have really done a lot of damage to me was if he went for the Void Rays. If he goes for Void Rays, or if he goes for Immortals right now. But Immortals would be difficult because he can't break my block, so that would be kind of a hassle for him. But it would work if he did. If he managed to build a robotics in my base, he could easily win this battle because I have no Ghost Academy and I don't have Marines to counter Immortals. Immortals will totally just wreck me right now. Anyways, he is having a lot of trouble now because my production of units is less than his production because I'm building 3 units at a time and he's building 4, but Marauders are just so much stronger than his units here. So he's still got 4 gates. I mean, you gotta save up a lot of minerals every time to build up 4 gates. He's still warping in units, but 4 gate, you can't expand really unless you have a confident lead, because when you expand, it's going to be, that 400 minerals could cost 1 cycle of building units, so you can't make that up, which is really harmful, or could really set you back. Anyways, this Protoss player has been wiped out of my base, I believe. No, he's still chrono boosting, or he's still warping them in. I have 4 Marauders, and he's got 2 Stalkers here. Kind of annoying, but just, they're so effective, and I got more back, 3 more coming in, 3 more Marauders. It's just so difficult for gateway units to counter Marauders. So he needs tech as soon as possible. Maybe earlier when he saw that I was building for the 3 gate, because he knew immediately when he started warping units in that I was going for the 3 gate Marauder, because that's all I was building. He could have thrown down this robotics really early and just stopped warping in units on my base. And he goes, damn, B apostrophe. Oh man, that is crazy. And so now comes my counter, because he's throwing down the robotics, so that means he's investing 200 minerals, he's got to build Immortal, so it takes time, and he's investing units. So to take advantage of this, I start moving out with my units. I constantly pump Marauders, and I start throwing down my Ghost Academy, because I am not stupid, and I know that there's no way he's going to take me head on when I got more Marauders and he has gateway units. So he's got to be going for robotics. It's only the sound counter right now, and that's what he is doing. I could have suspected Void Rays, but if he did, I did not scout. So if he went for Void Rays, it would have won him the game, because I could not have countered it. I could be building Marines, but I don't have Combat Shield nor Stim, so it would be very difficult. I don't have Engineering Bay, and only now do I throw it down, because now it hits me that maybe he is freaking building a Void Ray. So I scout again, and I realize he has no units, essentially no units in space, so I moved through the destroyable rocks, because I knew that if I was going to attack him, I was going to push in, and I didn't want my